The IWI Carmel, let's check it out. IWI Carmel, named after Mount Carmel in Israel. This was developed in 2014 for the Israeli military. Went through a lot of testing. The project was kind of put on the back burner for a little while, and there were a lot of people that were pretty excited about this short stroke gas piston system. It has a lot of your internals of your X95, but this is very similar to the CZ Bren 2 or the FN Scar. It's that short stroke gas piston. One of the things about these rifles is it's really a go-between the AR-15, which is a direct impingement system, and your AK-47. But yet it brings it up to modern standards. And one of the huge pluses for your piston guns is that they are great for suppressors. You don't get all the gas back in your face, but also they're very strong and require low maintenance. IWI US went over to Israel, looked at the Carmel, and they really updated a lot of the features to bring this to the US market. So we're going to take a good look at the Carmel, a lot of its features. We're going to talk about why you would want something like this over an AK-47 or for an AR-15. But one of the things about IWI is they produce really high quality world-class small arms. Whether it's the Tavor, the Galil, and a number of other firearms. Honestly, it just gives you a lot of choices. And we want to give a big thank you to IWI US for sending the Carmel for this review. This is one that I have been waiting on for a good while. All right, guys, the IWI Carmel. IWI stands for Israeli Weapons Industry. They are a private weapons manufacturer or firearms manufacturer. The IMI is Israeli Military Industry. Now, this is a short stroke gas piston system. It's very smooth shooting. And honestly, it's a much cleaner shooting firearm. One of the things though about the Carmel is that you'll notice that it does have a high bore to barrel axis. And that has a lot to do with the piston system that's going on inside, which you'll find on any of your short stroke piston systems. But these are very clean to shoot and really robust. One big plus for the piston system guns is when shooting suppressors. There's just a lot less gas, there's a lot less fouling, there's just less maintenance than your standard DI guns. And really, it comes in between your AR-15 and your AK-47, but this is in 5.56, and a lot of the controls are very similar to your AR. In fact, if you have an AR-15, it won't take long to transition to this manual of arms. Now, of course, the Carmel is a short stroke gas piston system, but with the Galil Ace, it is a long stroke gas piston system, very similar to the AK-47. In fact, the Galil was inspired by the Valmet, which the Valmet was inspired by the AK-47. The Galil is a super sweet shooting gun used by the IDF for decades. And then they have the Tavor bullpup design. You can get it in 5.56. Here we have the Tavor 7, which is in 308, a really capable rifle. Very short, compact, and honestly the recoil is very mild in the bullpup configuration. But with the Tavor and the X95, those are excellent as well. And then they have their Zion, which is their AR-15, and those are really high quality made ARs, and it goes along with just the legendary quality of IWI. Just an excellent AR. I mean, guys, there's a lot of ARs out there, but the Zion is really a nice rifle. Of course, they make their Mossad handguns and their Baby Eagles and different firearms. They have a really extensive line of guns. Now we do have a PMag. This has a 5-round limiter for our friends on YouTube, which makes it a 25-round magazine. And we're going to check to make sure the gun's unloaded. Now Now we have our charging handle right here. Very smooth action. Now while the Carmel looks somewhat heavy, it weighs 8.2 pounds. And typically with your piston guns, they weigh a little bit more than your AR-15. We have a polymer upper and lower receiver, which actually help keep the weight down. One thing about the piston gun though is you're going to have a little more weight out toward the end, but it allows for the recoil impulse to be fairly mild. It's a very smooth operating rifle. We have a 16-inch cold hammer forged barrel, which is going to extend life, give you better accuracy longer. It is chrome lined and it's 1-in-7 twist, and it has a nitride finish. And it does have a free float barrel, which is just going to give you better accuracy. The muzzle brake has 2 ports on either side. It also has 2 ports at the top, and there are no ports at the bottom. That just keeps debris down. Now it's really simple to adjust your gas settings, and of course this is cut out to make it really easy to get to. You have your standard gas setting, and then it has a setting for your suppressor. On the original Galil it had 3 settings, and one was just to turn it off. This makes it just a little bit easier. But really you can take a bullet tip or a punch and you can adjust that setting really quickly. Now we have an aluminum handguard with M-lock slots, and we have it at the top and down here at the bottom. Of course we have at 6 o'clock as well and on the other side. This gives you a lot of real estate. One of the things though about the original Carmel is that the handguard actually dove down. And it made for a shorter Picatinny rail. This just gives you more options for designators, or if you want to put sights on the end and just get a little bit more sight radius. I'll be honest with you, the original Carmel, I love the way that looked, but this is just more functionality. The Picatinny rail is metal and it's bolted on to the receiver. But this is in 2 pieces. We have a front section here about 4 inches, and then the monolithic Picatinny rail goes all the way to the back. The Picatinny rail is T-marked, so it gives you a reference when you're taking on and off scopes, sights, or laser designators. Now once you've got your bolt stop engaged, holding the bolt back, your charging handle is free floating, which makes it non-reciprocating. One of the cool things though when you have it in this position is you can bring it to about right here with this slot, and you can just push it through. And now you have it on the other side. So this is really cool to be able to switch this out really fast. And so then it pops back, and you just want to make sure you lock it in. Once you drop the bolt, this stays in that fixed position for you to bring it back to charge another round. Now we have a polymer upper receiver. We do have our serial number here that's attached to the upper receiver. And we have the polymer lower receiver here. You'll notice that we have our slide stop here, similar to the AR-15. Mag release is ambidextrous. We'll look at it on the other side. And we have our safety here, which makes it that 45-degree short throw. And we have an AR-15 pistol grip. Now this is one of the B5 pistol grips, but you can change this out. I love the angle though. This is more the K angle, which makes it more vertical. But any type grip you want to put on there, you can do it. Trigger guard actually comes down. So this is an undercut, which makes this really cool, where it just bends down, and then it's fairly wide, but it's large for gloved hands. We have a beveled mag well, makes those magazines go in there really easily. Now here on the other side, again, we have our safety, we have our mag release, we have our bolt hold open. Now all this is ambidextrous, but here we have our ejection port. It's only on one side, but you do have your shell deflector. So left-handed shooters tend not to have any issues the way this thing is set up. Plus you have your dust cover. It is polymer, and of course it springs down just like your AR. Stock's fully adjustable here with length of pull, and it actually has numbers, so you can set this wherever you prefer. Also, we have a cheek riser, and so right here we have adjustments. You grab on each side and you can pull that up and adjust it, and it's also numbered, so you can set this up for whatever optic you're using. We do have sling attachment slots here and on the other side, and we have QD ports here and on the other side. And one thing I really like is they actually include the sling swivels that go right into those ports, and you get 2 of them. And to mount your sling toward the front, they have an M-lock port included as well. And once it's set into place, just pop in your sling swivel. Now, of course, being a piston system, it does have one of the folding stocks. Just bring it back, and it just goes right to the side. One thing about it, there is a detent spring in here just to hold it into place. But it doesn't take much to bring this back and to close it. Now, one of the things about closing this stock is you really have to lock this into place. You got to give it a good snap. But this is a metal piece, and you have a metal catch, so that way it's not going to wear out. And guys, because of that, you need to really give it a good snap. Rubberized butt pad at the end, which is sloped up, which makes it just easier to use, especially if you're wearing plate carriers. Guys, this can be shot with the stock closed. The biggest problem is if you have the dust cover already closed, when it comes back, it's going to jam, and typically it will cause malfunctions. If the dust cover is already open, it typically will function. And to be honest with you, I rarely close my dust cover unless I'm putting my gun away. And even then, I don't always do it. Let's check trigger pull action. We hit a wall, a little bit of take up. Just a touch of rolling and then a nice break. Reset, right about there. Not bad. Not a bad trigger. Check trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge. 4 pounds, 7.6 ounces. 4 pounds, 8.5 ounces. Now we were using the Primary Arms SLX 3-power Raptor. These are great optics. It has the ACSS Raptor reticle in it and just a great optic. But we were also using one of the Primary Arms GLX, and this is the 1:6 first focal plane. These are excellent optics as well. And we had the ACSS Raptor reticle in it. We wanted to get that for accuracy. Big thanks to Fiocchi for sponsoring the ammunition, all made right here in the USA, one of the biggest suppliers of ammunition in the country. And I really love that the Carmel is using AR-15 mags. Makes it really easy. The IWI Carmel. I mean, this is one that we have been waiting for a long time. Developed for the IDF in Israel. Never really saw any kind of completion, and so we are now seeing the Carmel come to the United States. And you may call it Carmel, Carmel, Camel, but being a short gas stroke piston, it's very soft to shoot. And it's one of the things that kind of surprised me is taking it out, it just really has a low recoil impulse. Now, while the polymer is light and the rifle's not that heavy, it's front heavy, even though it has a fairly thin profile barrel. Again, somewhat balanced because you had that hand out, you're holding it. I mean, it just shoots really well. Of course, using the standard Stenag or the M16 style, we have a non-reciprocating charging handle, and just a great rifle. I've been so excited about getting a hold of one of these for a while. The short throw safety makes it really easy, very AR-15-esque, and of course the folding stock makes it really nice. Of course, it's fully adjustable. Just locks in. And it just keeps shooting. We've had 0 malfunctions out of this thing, I mean, and we expected such. What do you think about that?
It's very light. I mean, for the 5.56 rounds, it didn't feel like I was shooting 5.56. It felt kind of bouncy in my shoulder, but very soft.
Yeah, and it's lightweight for the size it is. It looks like it would be heavy.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go through disassembly. So first thing we want to do is go ahead and pull our bolt back, check the chamber, and the gun's empty. Of course, no magazine. First thing you want to do is to fold your stocks. Go ahead and depress your lever, bring it around. Now right here at the back is a plate, and you can push this in. Right here is a small little lever. This is your retaining pins to hold in your back plate. So we're going to push it, and then you just pull out on that little lever. And so this comes all the way out. You'll be able to take this and hear that snap, and now you can pull this out. And so the recoil spring and your bolt just come right out. Here's the plate at the back. We have our recoil spring and our guide rod, and then we have just this area up here. Here is our bolt carrier, and we have our bolt. So before we do anything, we want to take this and just push it down. And this right here is your firing pin safety. So if you push it up, you can push this firing pin, recess it all the way in. Now you'll notice this pin on one side is flared out. So you want to go to the other side, and the bottom pin, you just want to push it through, just like that. That is your firing pin retainer pin, and you want to make sure it comes all the way out. It'll kind of hang up a little bit, keeping your finger right here on your firing pin, and then release it so it doesn't come flying out. We do have a spring, which this keeps from slam fires. This is pretty common, but very unique and different type firing pin. Now here with the cam pin or your bolt pin, you can just pull it right out, and then your bolt comes out. Okay, there are no gas rings on here, so you don't have that maintenance. Looks similar to your AR-15, but yet a little bit different. And of course, you have your extractor here and your ejector pins there. Flat here at the back, and that allows for your firing pin. And that's pretty much all you need to do for maintenance. So one thing about putting the cam pin back in is it only goes one way, and you'll notice this little step. And if you look into the hole where the cam pin goes, there is a little bit of an opposite effect right here. So put in your bolt, line it up, so it just goes in this direction. But it only goes in one way, and once you put it in, it just closes down and it fits. Just like that. Make sure you pull out your firing pin retainer pin. Then right here is your firing pin safety. And we're going to put our firing pin right back in. Once it's in, just let go of that safety. And then we can just go ahead and just bring back our firing pin retainer pin, and you'll hear it click. Now here we're just going to bring back our folding stock into place, and we're going to turn the rifle over. Now right here is your takedown pin for your lower receiver. You need a punch, but you're probably going to have to tap it out. It's really tight in there. And once you have it out, you can just take it and pull your lower receiver off. You'll notice that these little engagement points that fit right here into these bars. So that just allows it to go right in and just swings out. Okay, here we have our hammer assembly. You got double coil springs on either side. This is definitely proprietary. One of the things about IWI, a lot of companies do make aftermarket parts for these. But of course, with this two-stage trigger, it's pretty nice already. But if you want to switch it out, I'm sure there'll be aftermarket parts coming. Now here with your gas adjustment plug, you can just move this up, and that takes it to the next position. Again, you can just move it down, and you can do that with even a bullet tip. But we're going to take this off, and I'm just to make sure we have good maintenance with our gas system, which is not something you need to do all the time. But just take it and start turning it. Now once it stops, then you can start to pull this out, just like that. And it'll just pop right out. And here's the plug, and then you have your two holes here for the different gas settings. Now you look right above the barrel, and you'll see that circle disc, and that is your piston. So just take a cleaning rod, and we're going to push out that piston. And as you push your cleaning rod through, the piston will just come right out. Now you want to leave your cleaning rod where it is, because this is going to help guide the piston back into place. But here you go, guys. Very simple system, the short stroke piston. And you'll just want to kind of keep this clean. Now one thing that IWI recommends is do not put any kind of lubrication on these. You want to clean this. It needs to be dry. It's in your gas system. So don't lube this with oil or the adjustment plug. You want to keep these dry. Now pushing the cleaning rod back through, we're going to go ahead and just place our piston in. And we want to go all the way in. So take the cleaning rod from the other side and just push it until it stops. Now we have an S and an R that's engraved right into the handguard. And so as we put this in, we can set this according to which one. Of course, we've got these two settings, and this is going to go into the detent, and we'll show you that when we install it. So right here is your detent. So as you're putting your gas regulator on, once you get it in, just take it and push it. And that gets past that detent. So we want that little detent to pop into the right setting. So we go up for regular, and then down for suppressed. And we want it at regular. Let's go ahead and put in our lower receiver and push through the pin on the other side. Make sure you have your bars pulled out, and you can put your bolt back in all the way down. Once you get this, press that back plate, and then you can snap your retaining pin into place, and then just close your stock. You really have to give it a good push to be able to lock up. Let's check for function, and we're back in business. Now, the manufacturer suggested retail price is $1,799. And of course, market price is going to be less. But compared to a lot of your other short stroke gas piston systems, this is really in line, and then you can go way up above that. But what are some pros and cons? First off, one of the big pros is that it gives you that short stroke gas piston system that is very robust. It requires little maintenance. It's great for suppressors, and the cycling is very smooth. You have your folding stock. We have a monolithic Picatinny rail that goes along the top, M-lock on the front with the aluminum handguard. Your barrel, cold hammer forged, 1-in-7 twist, free float, chrome lined. Muzzle brake's very effective, but if you want to switch that out, very simple to do, and obviously, you can put suppressors on here. And it's been through years of testing, even though this is an updated, Americanized version of the original Carmel. Again, the internals are X95, so they're proven as well. What are some cons? It's a little heavier than your AR-15. You can get AR-15s down to about 6.5, 7 pounds. This is going to give you a little more weight. It is a little bit front heavy because of the piston system, but it's a lot cleaner, and that's one of the big things over a DI gun. The gun itself is going to be a little bit more robust without the gas block and gas tube, and it allows you to shoot this in the closed position. So it does make it very compact. And it uses your standard AR-15 magazines or Stenag mags, and it's made right here in the USA. So parts availability is going to be really good. Plus, IWI stands behind their rifles. I mean, honestly, if you're looking for a short stroke piston system, this is going to be an excellent choice. Really going to compare with the Bren 2 from CZ or the FN Scar. And there are others out there, but really with IWI's reputation, there is a lot of advantages to this rifle. Again, guys, with a lot of controls of your AR, but yet with the durability of your AK-47, also the ability to shoot suppressors without getting all that gas back into your face. This makes an excellent rifle, built like a tank, and again, low maintenance. Yes, it's a little heavier than your AR-15, but really the Carmel is a very well-balanced firearm. And again, we really appreciate IWI US for sending the Carmel for this review. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. That's not good. All right, we ain't gonna be able to do that. And there were just a couple of things about it that they weren't really US, and we want to give a bit. And we want to. The IWI Carmel. IWI stands for is really a lighter weight handgun. I mean, this was popping up. Actually developed in 2000. Popped up. This popped up. It just like popped up. The IWI Carmel, for the Galil in the Israeli, and it may not have been the Galil, it could have been the Tavor, it could have been the X95. And shoot.